Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been doing well. This is going to be kind of a random video, but I'm going to do my best to structure it in a way that is informative for you guys. I recently got back from a trip to Europe. I ended up flying in and out of Milan, but we also spent a few days in France as well. So in terms of shopping, I actually didn't end up buying as much as I wanted, and I think that's mostly because the stores were unfortunately super crowded and stock was fairly low. So I actually had a really hard time finding items on my wish list. In Milan, the shopping was really great because all the luxury brands are there, but for places like Chanel in particular, there were really long lines out the door and very little stock. I ended up waiting in line at Chanel in Milan for at least a half hour, and then they didn't really have anything that I wanted. So that was somewhat disappointing. I did manage to get a pair of Hermes shoes that my friend wanted, so I'm really glad that I was able to get those for her. And then we went to the designer outlets outside of Milan, which they do have amazing stores, but it was so crowded. Like it was crazy crowded when we went. And granted, we unfortunately went on a Sunday because that was just the day that worked for our schedule. So I'm sure there were just a lot of locals as well, just trying to get their shopping in. But it was madness. It was like the height of mall shopping during the holidays, except without the decorations. And there were definitely lines to get into some of the more popular stores like Gucci or Burberry. Luckily, the lines weren't that bad. I would say the line for like going into Chanel and Milan was so much longer and took forever. So the lines at the outlets moved fairly quickly, but they did have lines set up just to handle like overcrowding. And even just getting from store to store was such a nightmare because it was just so crowded, and it was really hard to like weave in between like these groups of people and like families and strollers and stuff like that. So I had a specific list of the designer stores that I wanted to go to, and I wasn't really interested in shopping elsewhere, but I had to kind of like map it out and just kind of like try to be as efficient as possible. I was also there with a friend who isn't really into shopping at all, and so I just wanted to make sure I was, just being very efficient and like going quickly. So the one thing I ended up buying at the outlets was this Burberry coat. And I know that you guys aren't going to be able to see this, so I will insert mod shots later, but it's this really nice black winter coat. It is made of a wool cashmere blend. It's pretty much just a plain black trench coat, but the material I would say is like very soft and warm. There's no closure, you just kind of tie it with a belt, which is a look I really like. And it's pretty inconspicuous, which I really like about it. The only touch of kind of designer logo that you will see is, besides the label obviously, which is just on the inside of the coat, is underneath the collar. There's this really nice little check print in the gray Burberry pattern, which I really like. So it's very subtle. It just has that little pop of the logo and the check print underneath the collar. And I really do like the way that it looks on me. I didn't have like a nice looking black winter coat, so I think this will definitely come in handy when the weather gets cooler again. In terms of prices, the boutique price for this, and this is all written on the label right here, right here. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but basically it says that the boutique price is 2390 euros, so 2,390 euros, and then the outlet price is 1,150 euros. But they were doing a promotion that weekend in the store where if you bought anything at the store that was over 1,000 euros, you would get an additional 30% off. So when you convert that final price into dollars, on my credit card, it ended up being $872. But with the VAT refund in Italy, I ended up getting about $100 back to my credit card. And so that brought the total price of the coat down to $772. Obviously still expensive for a coat, but I personally think it's a great deal for a Burberry coat. And I love the way that it looks on me. So I was really happy to have made this purchase. Here are some quick mod shots. And just for reference, I ended up taking a US size 8. So the thing you should know about the VAT refund in Italy is that it's higher than shopping in other countries in the EU. I actually didn't really know this before I went. So the VAT refund in Italy is roughly 20%. I think technically I read it's 22%, but I think it really ends up being about 20% after the fees that the VAT companies take. And the two companies that they work with in Italy are called Global Blue and Planet Tax. So Global Blue is nice because they have an app and you can set up a profile and track your refund. In my profile, you can see the past refunds I had from my previous trips to Europe. They also partner with a lot of brands in Japan. So a lot of the Japanese refunds I had ended up showing up in my profile as well. So it's kind of nice that it's like all in one easy place and you can easily track your refund and like how much you got back. Unfortunately, Planet Tax doesn't have an app, and so there was no way for me to track my refund, or at least that I could find online. And so that one feels a little bit more blind, and just in terms of like I just handed them my information and they stamped it, and hopefully I will see my refund at some point. So after Italy, we ended up spending a few days in Nice, and I also did a little shopping in Monaco because we did a day trip to Monaco. In Nice, I couldn't find anything, unfortunately. But in Monaco, I found that stock was much better and there weren't lines to get into the stores. So I actually was able to buy a Chanel handbag. I also picked up some Hermes shoes for another friend of mine. So here's the disappointing thing. I realized that after I made these purchases in Monaco, that the VAT refund for Monaco is only 10%, which is a huge bummer because it's basically half of the refund that I would have been able to get if I was able to buy those items in Italy. And obviously I couldn't find those items in Italy because stock was so low there. So to me, that just ended up being like very disappointing, thinking that you're gonna get a certain amount of money back and that you're only gonna get half of that essentially. So I don't have the Chanel with me right now, but I did previously film the unboxing video. So I'll insert it here so you guys can see the bag. Okay, so here's the thing about the Chanel bag. I unfortunately pretty much had immediate buyer's remorse as soon as I bought this bag. And I ended up trying to exchange it in Nice because we were staying in Nice and Chanel has a store in Nice, but I couldn't really find anything within that price range because the store in Nice is a lot smaller than the store in Monaco. The one in Monaco is just more well stocked, and we didn't have time to go back to Monaco, so I couldn't make the return. Also, apparently, Chanel doesn't do returns for certain items, and I think it's like high value items. You can only exchange it, which also was like, okay. And then also the lady told me that like because Monaco is technically a separate country, but it's within France, and so they have like a special agreement. Like I could have exchanged the bag in Nice if I found something else I wanted to exchange it for, but because we were going back to Milan eventually to fly out of Milan, she's like, you can't return the bag in Milan or exchange it in Milan. And I was like, okay, great. So that was also just kind of disappointing. Like I just didn't realize that those rules were there when I bought the bag. When I went into the store in Chanel in Monaco, I think I just panic bought the bag, and I don't know, like I really don't know how else to explain it. It was just a few days before my birthday. I really wanted to buy something nice for myself, and I was just striking out everywhere else. Like really like Milan, Nice, Monaco, like all the other stores I went to where I was like trying to find something off my wish list. I just like couldn't find anything. So when Chanel and Monaco had this bag, I got really excited because it's a square mini, and so it's pretty rare, and it's just this gorgeous light pink color, which I believe is called Rose Claire. I think I saw that on one of the custom slips that I had to fill out. But after thinking about it for a few days, I think I just realized I'm never going to use this bag. And I feel like it's pretty delicate since it's lambskin and it's a really light color. And I'm just going to be too scared to use it. I can't really explain why I have such intense buyer's remorse. It's kind of disappointing to me and kind of a new feeling for me because I'm usually not the kind of person that gets buyer's remorse. Like I have a general idea of what I want to buy, and I just don't really have buyer's remorse this quickly after buying something. If I have buyer's remorse in the past, it's usually that I bought the item, but I was super excited about it, and maybe it was a bag or something, and I just tried it out and really tried to make it work for my lifestyle, and maybe for some reason it ended up not working out for my lifestyle, and so I would say that's generally what happens. Is that like I get super excited about something, I will try it out, and then after a while I'll realize it just doesn't work for me, and then I will just go ahead and sell it. But for me, it's kind of like at least I had that like excitement about it from the very beginning, and I was like excited to just like use it and try to make it work. It's so weird with this bag. As soon as I got it, I was like not super happy about it. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys. So if it has, please let me know in the comments because this is like a very weird feeling for me, and I would love to just know if you guys have a similar story. And I think the other thing that kind of led to my kind of buyer's remorse is just like realizing how little of a refund I'm getting in the end. Like overall, the price is not that much different than what we pay in the US. And like basically I saved on tax in the US, but like I don't think I ended up saving that much more. And I think that's because with the globalization, I know that Chanel has recently done price increases and they're trying to make prices a little bit more uniform throughout the different countries. So I'm sure that had something to do with it. I just don't think that buying Chanel in Europe is like the same great deal that it used to be. I think it really depends on the item that you get for sure and what you're looking for. But in my case, I was doing the math and I was like, I don't really think this is like a really great deal. Also, it's kind of annoying because since I ended up buying the bag in France, but I flew out of Italy, well, technically I bought the bag in Monaco, but I ended up flying out of Italy. I had to show the customs agent in Italy that I had the bag in my possession, and then I had to get a special stamp, and then I had to take it to the Planet Tax desk and submit my forms. And I've been home for about a week and I still haven't gotten my refund. So I think refunds for items that you purchased outside of the country, of the EU country that you're actually departing from, might take longer. At least that's my experience. And that was also something that I wasn't expecting, for the refund to take this long. And I think that's just kind of frustrating because it's a really good chunk of change that I'm still waiting for my credit card to get the credit. So anyway, that is my big buyer's remorse story. Again, I'd love to know if you guys have had experience with this, and please share in the comments. I'd love to commiserate. It honestly just feels so awful, especially when it's an item that costs a lot of money. Oh, I also wanted to tell you guys that for the items that I ended up buying in Italy, that refund was pretty fast. So it was the one pair of Hermes shoes in Milan, and then this coat, and that refund posted to my credit card within 5 days. So if you're leaving out of Italy and you're buying something in Italy, I think that is like the best and most seamless way to go, because it's just very easy. You don't have to do any additional paperwork or anything like that. So that's what I would recommend, like if you're going to be shopping in Europe. But here's the really annoying thing: for the items that I bought in France, I still haven't seen any money, and this is like a pretty big chunk of money. So I have also just a little bit of anxiety just waiting to see that credit card come through to my account. I'm sure it will eventually, but it's been a week and I still haven't seen it yet, so I'm just getting a little bit anxious. And now I need to figure out the best way to sell this bag. I may take it to Fashionphile. Or I might try to consign it. If you guys have any tips of trusted consigners, please leave them in the comments below, like people that you really trust working with. Yeah, I think I'm mostly just kind of mad at myself that now I've kind of created extra work for myself to try to have to sell this bag to recoup the funds that I paid for it. And it's just generally like a frustrating experience overall. So that being said, I really don't want to end this video on a down note, so I will go ahead and end with this. These Louis Vuitton toiletry bags, the trousseau pouches that I bought pre-loved from Farfetch before my trip, I ended up using these on this trip and I absolutely love these. They were so fantastic. I will link to this reveal video in case you missed it, but I brought these with me and I have to say that they are just so perfect. The larger one, so this is the larger one, this one just had all my general toiletries, and then the smaller one fit just all my makeup and then some. And I have to say that I'm really, really amazed with how practical and how sturdy they are. I also just love this like rectangular shape. I think it's just like very easy to pack and fits very well into your suitcase and doesn't create any sort of like weird extra spaces that you need to fill. So just for the practicality, the sturdiness, they're water resistant, everything about them was absolutely amazing. The only thing that I would say that I wish they had was a double zipper. So they only have a single zipper. So And it's very smooth and it opens really nicely, and the inside is this wipeable interior, which is great. So yeah, I think it would just be a little bit nicer if they had just more than one zipper. Just like a double zip I think would be perfect. But that being said, that's my only critique of these items, and I think that these were so good. If you were someone like me who travels a fair amount and you're kind of on the hunt for a good toiletry case, I can't say enough good things about these bags, so I would highly recommend these. I was a little bit unsure that I even needed both sizes, to be honest, and I was like, maybe it's a little extra of me to buy these in both sizes without ever having tried them. But I have to say, like, I am so happy. So this was definitely not a buyer's remorse item for me, so I'm very happy to have added these to my collection. So that is about it for this video. I really hope this was helpful for you in some way. I'd really appreciate it if you would give my video a thumbs up and would subscribe to my channel. That would mean so much to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.